What's up, everybody? It's Kevin here from Happy Beard Games, and this is my Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2019 video. Yes, I went to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo this past weekend, just got back. It was a lot of fun, really awesome, met some really cool people, had some great experiences, and a lot of fun. I highly recommend it to anyone who's interested in going to go next year. Now this video is going to be half of a pickups video and half of an experience video. I'll tell you about my experience at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo and showcase many of the things that I did there. And then at the other half of the video, I will show all my pickups, all the things that I bought at this convention. So let's head over to the slideshow of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. These are my pictures and videos and memories of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2019. Now when you first walk into the building, you'll see the arcade. And not just an arcade, but it's like half of the expo was an arcade, half of it was vendors. There is an arcade in the back, half of the arcade is pinball, and half of it is arcade machines. But before that, there's a lot of game consoles set up, and these game consoles range from the Super Famicom and the Sega Saturn, all the way to the Xbox. There was a whole bunch of Xboxes connected for a Halo video game tournament. Not like a big tournament, but like one that people could just join in with. And there was lots of game systems. Each one, I believe you could request a game, but we usually just played a game that was already set up, such as Castlevania, or DuckTales, or The Legend of Zelda. I played some other games. I think it was Darius on the Super Famicom. It was a really cool shooter. It was really a fun one. There were some people playing 8-player Bomberman on the Sega Saturn. There was just a lot of stuff. Oh, even Cybermorph. Where did you learn to fly? So there was that. There was even an area set up like an old style living room, like a living room you might have had in the 80s or the early 90s with an older TV. So before I talk about the vendor area, because there's a lot to cover there was also a Tetris tournament going on in a separate room. I believe there were some other tournaments as well. There was an Earthbound documentary movie at night that we didn't go to. And also upstairs, there was places where you could see the panels and get autographs from some of the guests. So in the vendor area, which was about half of the convention floor, there was many vendor booths. Some of them were selling video games. Actually, most of them were selling retro video games, which makes sense, of course. I mean, come on. But there was also a lot selling anime stuff, comic book stuff, artwork, fan-made jewelry based on video games or iconic characters. There was some people that were artists, some people that were cosplayers, and there was a lot of variety here. And on Sunday in the vendor area, I got to talk to Paul E. Niemeyer, who was the original Mortal Kombat artist. He was a very nice guy, had a lot of history and information to share with us about the game Mortal Kombat, but also I told him about I was a fan of the game Satan's Hollow, which you may have remembered on Happy Beard Games for my 666 subscriber special. I played the game Satan's Hollow, a classic Midway arcade style game, a shoot 'em up, and he did the artwork for that on the arcade cabinet. So he did the artwork for many different games, and you can see them all on the list on the poster behind him. Very nice guy, and it was nice to meet him. And here's a little bit of the downside of the convention, was that it was very crowded. It was crowded. It seemed like there was more people here than last year, even though there was a slightly bigger space than last year. In fact, it was so crowded that I never got a chance to play a single pinball game. There was many pinball games there, probably about 50 or more. Never got the chance to get on there, and I walked down that pinball aisle maybe like 5 different times. I did manage to get on some of the arcade cabinets and play some games, and one of those was Wizard of War, another one that I really like. Wizard of War is a really fun game. It's kind of like Pac-Man, but you've got a gun and you're in like a maze and you're shooting all these monsters and aliens. And me and Brian were able to play that together because it has a co-op or a versus style mode where you play at the same time. Now if you haven't checked out the game Gorf, it's a shoot 'em up, and each of the 5 levels is completely different. It starts out as a basic Space Invader style level, then it moves on to something more like Galaga or Galaxian, and then it gets kind of trippy where you're going through like a space hyperspace thing. And it was actually, from what I read online, it was intended to be a tie-in to Star Trek the Motion Picture, so it has some resemblance to Star Trek. But for the most part, the expo was a lot of fun with lots of cool cosplay, art, video games, and more. Wow, what a fun, memorable experience that was at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. But now we're on to the second half of this video, the pickups. Yes, the pickups. These are all the things that I bought and picked up at the expo. Now, if you're a fan of Castlevania, you're a fan of the Nintendo Famicom, or just a fan of classic gaming goodness, you'll want to stay tuned for these pickups. So let's jump in with my pickups. So some of the first pickups that you're probably noticing right now is this, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2019 official t-shirt, which is really cool actually. I really love the artwork this year. I actually like it better than last year's artwork, which was more of a Mega Man 2 style, at the convention center style artwork. And that was blue. This one's black, and it's got a white trim on the sleeves, as well as the collar and the neck. And it's got an outline. It's got Samus's gunship right there, which is awesome. I love Metroid, so that's really cool to have that. It's got these beam downs of light, which is the Game Boy and the Sega Genesis, which I guess both had their anniversaries this year as well. For the 30th anniversary of the Game Boy and Genesis. I could be wrong about that. I'll have to check that out. I'm not really sure right now, but I think it's the 30th anniversary. And I think those are for both the Genesis and the Game Boy. It came out the same year. Pretty cool. You might be thinking of Super Nintendo and Genesis, but it's Game Boy and Genesis. And another cool thing that I found out about this shirt last night was it glows in the dark. Yes, it glows in the dark. This white trim here and the gunship all glow in the dark, which is really cool. Another thing is this Retro Game Players hat, something I've been looking for a while. This is from my good buddy Marcus over at Retro Game Players. You can check him out at retrogameplayers.com, or you can look him up on YouTube. I'll have the link to his channel in the description below. He has a very nice YouTube channel with lots of classic gaming goodness on there as well, and some awesome videos. And this is his hat. Now, not only was it just the importance of getting a hat and meeting Marcus, was that I was also at his vendor booth. So I was helping out as a vendor, not just participating in the expo as a visitor, you know, but I was also helping out as a vendor. So this is my first experience working behind the vendor booth, which is, it might not seem like that important to some people, but to me it was a really important thing to get that kind of experience of working at a convention or an expo. Seeing what it's like from the other perspective, not just someone walking around, but someone who is actually selling the games, and learning what to look out for, what to do, what not to do, and how to set up the booth, stuff like that. Just lots of things that are new to me, and they're important. So in the future conventions, maybe not the Portland Retro Game Expo, but in future conventions coming up, I might try to have my own vendor booth for Happy Beard Games. And not just for my YouTube channel, but for selling some stuff. You know, some duplicate video games, some duplicate game systems, got a lot of action figures, some comic books. Depending on what is allowed or what they have at the convention that are going to, you know, what the theme is it comics or video games? I might be doing that in the future. So enough about that, let's get on with the pickups. So there was also these, the booklet, which tells all the schedule and all the events. It has the same artwork as the shirt, so if you didn't want to get the shirt, you still get the artwork on the booklet. Really cool. And then we've got the weekend pass here. Now, for most of the convention, I was wearing the green one, which is a green Game Boy. These are all Game Boy themed this year. The green one was for the vendors, and this is the weekend pass, was gray, like the original Game Boy. So I thought that was really cool. Last year it was an NES card, I think it's right there. And now it's the Game Boy. And there was different colored ones for different days, so that's cool too. I got this handmade, custom-made Nintendo sign. Now this is on wood. Really nice. It's the back there, and it's just the Nintendo logo, the simple, you know, circle logo or oval logo of Nintendo. And it's really cool, and I like it. It's the red and black classic Nintendo colors. They also had some that were bigger, and this is a smaller one. I could have got the bigger one, but I wasn't sure how much it would fit on the wall or a shelf. So I went with this. It's pretty big size, too. And it's really nice quality. It's really cool. And there was also one that was Super Nintendo color, which I almost got, but I went with the classic red and black. There was a purple and gray. So this is probably going to go up here somewhere with my little Nintendo shrine of Nintendo original stuff, NES. But speaking of Super Nintendo, if you're a follower of Happy Bird Games on my social media, you might know I didn't have any videos last month. That was because my Super Nintendo broke, getting in the way and disrupting all the process of all my videos. So my Super Nintendo broke, so I was thinking about getting one after the convention, but then I was like, why don't I just look for one there? And that way I can check it out, see how it works, and see what it looks like. So we did get a Super Nintendo, yes! And it's kind of breaking my heart a bit because I have the Super Nintendo as my first console when I was a kid. I've had it since I was like 3 or something, and I love it, but it's broken. It's not working, and I thought it was the power adapter, but apparently, now that I've got this, I figured out that it was actually the power adapter of my old one broke, and the power and inside the actual Super Nintendo broke as well. So, like, 2 broken things. But we've got this Super Nintendo. It's actually in better condition than my original one, which is really cool to have that. It's really in good condition. No yellowing. There's, like, extremely slight yellowing there. It might be able to wash off, actually. And the color on the power and reset buttons are brighter, a little slightly more brighter than my original. I don't know why, but it's the original Super Nintendo, no damage or anything. And this was from SideQuest Games, and yeah, really cool to have a Super Nintendo. This came with the power and the video and a controller. It was actually this controller right here, so always good to have another Super Nintendo controller. I thought it was loose because it was on the shelf like that. But really cool, and this was $65. That is not a bad price, in my opinion. It's not like... I mean, we're at a game store, so it makes sense that it's not going to be like 20 or something, or 30 or 40 or 50, but 65 is not bad for a complete Super Nintendo that works, and it's in really nice condition, actually. The only, like, thing that could barely be considered not good condition is the sticker has, like, flapped up, but that's not a big deal. It runs perfectly. I played some Turtles in Time on it yesterday. Very refreshing to play Super Nintendo again. And it's just a big deal to me to have a Super Nintendo working because it's my favorite console. So let's move on with some of the other things that are all kind of mixed around this table down here. So since I was working at Marcus's booth, the Retro Game Players vendor booth, that was really cool. He gave me some free stuff, so he gave me some Batman figures and some Batman stuff. He also gave me the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, the best of DVD, but it's not actually what is in the DVD that's in there isn't actually Super Mario Bros. Super Show. It's actually Super Mario Bros. 3 Adventures, or whatever that show was called. It's another cartoon that was on around the same time, or a little bit later than Mario Bros. Super Show. I think this Super Show is mostly based on Mario 1 and 2, and Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 was based on Mario 3, of course, so it had like the Koopalings in it. But that'll be cool to check out, even though it's the wrong case, it's close enough. And I actually have some of those shows on here, so I'll put this up here, I guess. Pretty cool. And that was free. Another thing from Marcus was his CD. He has a Vaporwave soundtrack. It kind of has like a tropical or island or like a sunny beach feel to it, a peaceful feel to it. It's called Malibu Mode 7. You should check it out if you're interested in synthwave or vaporwave or synth music or electronic music. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but it's also on YouTube, and there's also it's on CDs. This is a CD version, so it's pretty cool. That's really awesome. Thank you, Marcus, for the free stuff. Also, working at Retro Game Players, I got a discount on one of their more expensive games, more pricey or rarer games, and it was just happened to be the one game I've been looking for the past 3 or 4 conventions that I've been to, and that is a Castlevania game. Castlevania Bloodlines, whoa, for the Sega Genesis. Now, this is not the original box. This is because I think the original came in like a cardboard or a cardstock box. This one is a reproduction label, I think. Yeah, reproduction label and just the generic Genesis case. But it's the actual game, and I haven't actually played it yet, but on this cart. But it's really cool to have. It's $75, but he discounted it, so it's $55, and it does say labeled as printed cover, and yeah, it's really cool. So here's the game card itself of Castlevania Bloodlines. Now, this was a game that I never played. I played it briefly on the Nintendo Switch in that new Castlevania collection, but I've been wanting it for even longer than that. I grew up on the Super Nintendo, once again playing Super Castlevania 4, which is my favorite game, and this might become one of my favorite games on the Genesis. You never know. And I love Castlevania games. And this one's really good. You've got 2 playable characters, you've got a huge adventure, great soundtrack. Yeah, Castlevania Bloodlines. I'm really excited to have this one. And actually, I kind of like it better in the hard plastic case, because I don't have to worry about it getting, like, smashed. And I don't know, it's nice, even though it's not the real case, it's still nice to have any kind of case. I was looking for it loose, and that's cool. $55 is not bad. I've seen it for $60 at some conventions. Another thing, I guess we'll just continue on with the Castlevania stuff. This is another thing that I was actually specifically looking for at this convention, so when I saw it on our shelf, a magazine rack, I knew I had to grab it. And that was the Nintendo Power with Super Castlevania 4 on the cover, with Simon Belmont swinging on his chain whip through the dungeons of Castlevania. Now, this is a magazine. I had a lot of these Nintendo Powers as a kid. A lot of the early ones somehow got thrown away. Long story, I don't want to talk about that, it's sad, but they got thrown away. Yes, thrown away, not sold, thrown away. And so I've been rebuying some of the more iconic ones, or the ones that I really remember, the specific issues that I remember. And this was the one that I was really looking for. It was $10, kind of a lot. I mean, a lot of the ones that I bought around this time were like $5, but this one's okay, and I got it in person, so it's cool. And I haven't really looked through it yet since I got it. There's a Battletoads contest, really cool. We might do a video of checking this out. There's actually not a Castlevania 4 poster, but there's a Castlevania 4 map on the back side of the poster. The poster is actually the Rocketeer game. And then there's also an article about Link to the Past, and there is a Mario comic book, as well as a Link to the Past comic book. So, and I believe it's the first issue. Yeah, it's the very first chapter of Link to the Past comic book, which was a great comic to read as a kid. It's a great one today. So, Super Castlevania 4, $10. This was also at the same place that I got the Super Nintendo, which was SideQuest Games. I'm really happy to have this. It's a specific buy, too. Now we're moving on to, what should we do next? More games. We've got this, I got some Atari games, and I think I mentioned that I got some Atari pickups. No, I said Famicom, so we did get a few Atari games. That was something else I was looking for. I meant to get some more, but I ran out of cash. So, the first one we got is another game that I was specifically looking for at this convention. You may be remembering that on my channel I'm doing Gametober all month. Did a lot of Atari games. And one of those Atari games that I wanted to get that was a horror-themed one is, of course, the classic Haunted House. Love this game, and I didn't have it yet, so now we can play it. You mean you haven't played it yet? Well, I have, but we're going to do a video on this month in the style of Gamer Piece Theater for Gametober, and it's going to be all about Haunted House and some of the mods on Atari Age for this game. So we're going to be checking out Haunted House pretty soon this month, because the months are running out of time. So we got Haunted House, really fun game. And then we got this other game, which I don't know anything about. It's supposed to be kind of like a Star Trek-ish game. Star Raiders for the Atari 2600. In nice condition. Looks like a really cool box art, or cover art. And it wasn't just the game. Oh, by the way, Haunted House was $7. It wasn't just the game. It was bundled with the controller, so this was a $5 set. Game and controller. I have a lot of Atari controllers. Never seen one like this. It's the specific... Or it's, I don't know if it's specific. It's a video touchpad. Kind of looks like an Intellivision controller. And it has the Star Raiders overlay. So this actually comes out like an Intellivision. Similar to an Intellivision. And it tells you some of the controls. Like, you have a computer and shields and hyperwarp. It's probably for games that were more complex that needed more than just the red button. You know, because Atari's only got one button, and the competition in television has like 10 buttons or something. So now we're moving on to another game that's completely different than Atari. And it's another one I've been looking for specifically more recently, because I love the soundtrack of this game. I love the game itself. I had it as a kid. I don't have it anymore, but I got it now. That is Donkey Kong 64. Yeah, $20. Not a bad price for Donkey Kong 64. Now, it's not in the best condition outside, but looking at the actual pin, it looks great. And I tested it out yesterday, and it was great. Now, it's kind of weird. It's got like a GameStop style sticker over there, or like a used sticker. I can clean this part up pretty well. I clean up the stickers. On the back, it has the price tag and a Paris sticker card from Pokemon. Kind of weird, but I mean, it's cool. I think that's kind of cool. I'll probably leave the Paris one on there. It's kind of a 90s thing. Pokemon and Donkey Kong Country on the N64. I love this game. Really fun game. I actually recommend that one. It's a really good one. The first one we got was a little more expensive one. Well, kind of. And that's Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball. I love the manga. I love the anime. It's one of my favorite animes. I mean, you know about Dragon Ball Z and stuff, but specifically Dragon Ball is one of my favorites. So we got Dragon Ball, and the cool thing, it's got this like nice like purple lavender cart, which is always cool. But it's also got like a back picture too, or back text with the Dragon Ball logo and a dragon on it. And also it has a side label, which is cool, because a lot of these don't have side labels. A lot of these Famicom games do not have side labels. Some of the Konami ones do. I found out that day that not all the Konami ones do. But some of the Bandai ones do. Here's another Bandai one, and it has that like Bandai engraved on it, which is cool. And this is Gundam. It actually says Gundam Z. And it's called Hot Scramble. So Gundam Hot Scramble, but it has a Z on it. I couldn't really translate what the Z was. Maybe it's Z Gundam or Gundam Z. I've heard of like G Gundam and Gundam Wing and the original Mobile Suit Gundam. And I haven't really caught up with the series in a long time, since like I was a teenager. But this is way before that, in the 80s, so this is an earlier Gundam. And I'm not sure. It kind of looks like Gundam Wing or original Gundam. So I think it might be original Gundam, because it's like the 80s. It's 86. So it's got to be original Gundam, or one of the first series. There's so many series of the Gundams that it's a giant robot series. Now, last year at the Portland Retro Game Expo, I got a really cool Famicom game, really complex. It was an RPG. It's called Famicom Jump, and I got the sequel, Famicom Jump 2. And this is weird because it's a bigger cart. So this is your standard Famicom cart, and it's taller. It's a Bandai one, but it's also taller. Now, these Famicom Jumps are, you know, like Shonen Jump magazine, where it's like a whole bunch of comics each month, or each week. In Japan, it's a weekly Shonen Jump. In North America, it's monthly Shonen Jump. And they have like iconic, really big, popular, iconic manga in there, like One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Can't think of anything else. Dr. Slump, Fist of the North Star. There's a lot, and there's a lot that I don't know. Now, this is way before Naruto and One Piece, but it does have Goku from Dragon Ball, or maybe Dragon Ball Z. I'm not sure. He looks like a younger Goku, but not Kid Goku, so maybe Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. It also has Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I don't really know any other characters on the front cover art, but it is the sequel to Famicom Jump. So it's Famicom Jump 2. It says on the front, Goku, Talu, Ryo-san, Tari-chan, Tyson, Jojo, Momo, they are all the most bravest persons in the Jump world. It's a 1991 Famicom game. It's the back. Now, I had this other game here that was a Konami game, and I thought it might have been Castlevania 2, not remembering what Castlevania 2's art looks like in Japan. It's like Akumajo Dracula 2, and it's a 2 game, but it's a Konami game also by, you know, Castlevania. But it's not. It's like, I'll have to like print up the title on the screen because I don't remember what it is. It's only in Japan as far as I know, so it's a Famicom exclusive. It was on the PC Engine or the MSX. I think it's a port of one of those. I could be wrong. I'll have to look that up because I looked at it like briefly on my phone with the translator app. And what it is it's like a castle platformer dungeon game. It's very like Castlevania. It has a little more cutie chibi art style, and you're going through a castle through platforming, like going up ladders, going over ledges and stuff like that. It's not quite as dark or like realistic as Castlevania, I guess you could say. It's more cartoony, and you're like rescuing a princess, and it's kind of a cool game. It looks like it'll be fun. It doesn't look like it's like rare or anything. I think this was bundled with Gundam, so these were $8 together. The Dragon Ball was $7, and Famicom Jump was $15, so it was like a $30 deal. And that is it for all my games. That's all my pickups. Now, the last things I got were from Pat the NES Punk's booth. Pat was not there. Well, he was there, and I saw him, and then when I went back, he wasn't there. But I did buy it from his booth. And these are really cool. These are posters. And I'll show you the first one. They're Super Nintendo and also Nintendo NES box art posters, and they're really, really nice. They're very high quality print, kind of glossy. It looks like you can't see any blur or pixelation in it. I mean, it's not like by Nintendo or anything. It's a fan thing, but it's really cool. And it's hard on the front. The art's hard. And then you've got foam on the back. So it's lightweight. It's not on like wood or anything. It's lightweight, which is actually good for hanging on the wall. And I'm probably going to redo my wall over here where I have those Nintendo Power posters behind my couch. I'm probably going to put these up in there. They look really nice, and they look really cool. And they're sturdy, and they're like lightweight, which is cool. So I got Mario RPG. And of course I had to get my favorite game ever, Castlevania 4. Yes, that was what I went for first. Was Castlevania 4 and Super Mario RPG. Two of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo. Love it. Love having these. And yeah, really cool stuff. But then the next day, on Sunday, I went back to his booth and I got Castlevania 1 and 3. Why no Simon's Quest? I already have a Simon's Quest poster in my room with the same box art, so it's a little bit different size, but then we got Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, and Castlevania 1, which they both have really good box art. I love the artwork on all the Castlevanias, pretty much. And this one, I like this because it's kind of got like a neon Castlevania logo. It's very cool. Got one more thing though. This was not a pickup from the convention. This was something I already had. The Nintendo Power Glove. Yes, the Power Glove. It's so bad. And I love the Power Glove because it is iconic and it looks cool. And I was wearing it through most of the Expo. Now, I did meet the Angry Video Game Nerd. Yes, I met AVGN. I met James Rolfe at the Cinemassacre autograph place. A very important and memorable moment for me of the Expo was meeting James Rolfe. Now, what I'm going to say might sound kind of weird, and it might have sounded a little weird to James too, but I know I had to tell him, I had to say thank you. Thank you for making Cinemassacre and doing what you do and making the Angry Video Game Nerd, because it's an inspiration to me. If I didn't make Happy Bird Games by making my YouTube channel, and that's all like inspired by Cinemassacre and Angry Video Game Nerds content, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be at the convention, you know. I wouldn't be as happy as I am. I wouldn't have all these games as I have. I wouldn't have the experiences that I have from not just the convention, but YouTube as well. I wouldn't know all the subscribers that I know on YouTube. Because a lot of you guys that subscribe and comment more than once, I know you on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And as some of you I've met at the conventions and expos. I met my best friend Brian through YouTube. I didn't know him before YouTube. I met a lot of people. I met Marcus through YouTube. I met Radical Reggie through YouTube. I met so many people. Like everyone on these Facebook groups and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. They mean a lot to me. You guys really do mean a lot to me. Not just for watching my videos or subscribing or anything. That doesn't matter. It's the experiences and the people that I get to meet and connect with and talk to on a near like weekly or daily basis. Like some of these people I talk to a lot. And they all mean a lot to me. So I had to really thank James, just not too long, not that long, but like I just thanked him. And it was kind of weird, but it's important. It's important to me. And I wish I could have said more or something else, but I just wanted to say thank you to him. And we did do the Predator thing, like, you son of a bitch. We did that. James said it. It was so cool. That's from the iconic Predator scene. And he autographed my Power Glove. Because I was wearing it at the time. I wasn't sure if he should autograph it or not. Not because any reason or not to, or you know, to or not to. But he did autograph it. So I got the James AVGN signature on my Power Glove. Now I'm kind of like, do I wear it or not? I might put some like clear tape over it and like a clear masking tape over it and just leave it on there so that way it won't get rubbed off. Let me know in the comments if that's a good or bad idea. But Power Glove, it's so bad, now it's pretty cool. And I was wearing this for the Expo, so it's really cool to have that. And I wasn't sure about like where he should sign it, but he found the right spots to sign it, so. Thank you, James. Thank you, Cinemassacre. Thank you, Angry Video Game Nerd and team, for doing what you do. Alright, everybody, that was it for my pickups and experience at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2019 in Portland, Oregon, my hometown. And it was a lot of fun, many memories, many experiences, lots of fun, lots of friends. It was a great time. I highly recommend anyone who's interested to go next year. I think it's in August next year. It was in October this year, and I think it's in August next year. And it was so much fun. I can't wait for more. I can't wait for next year. It's gonna be even more fun. I went last year for the first time, so this is my second year going, and it's just a blast. The arcade, the vendors, the entire expo, and all the people there were awesome. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned to Happy Beard Games for more classic gaming goodness. Please be sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, Happy Beard Games will see you then. Bye!